Hey, once again, everyone, it is the Wednesday evening edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. We're going to be talking about, well, some not so great news in the weather department over the next several days and heading into the long range as well. I've been trying to find some silver linings in this weather pattern. Well, the days are still getting longer. There's that. Things are continuing to green up. There's that. And well, I can't find a whole lot else that's fantastic about this pattern. Take a look at the temperature history here over the last couple of weeks, dating back to the 10th, so basically the last 12 days. The high temperatures have been almost uniformly below average, with a couple of exceptions back on Sunday the 12th and Monday the 13th. It was a little warmer than average, but every other day of the last 12 has been at least a little bit cooler than average, including today with a high of 46 degrees. Our average high, yeah, it's 62 on today's date. What a difference this month is shaping up to be compared to the last few months. It's been since November since we've had a cooler than average month, and it's by a pretty big margin as well. Of course, we basically had a non-winter in December, January, February, and into March. It was way above the average, but right now we're running a 3.6 degree deficit in the temperature department. In other words, 3.6 degrees cooler than average through the first 3 weeks or so of the month. Pretty cool time lapse today. We started the day cold. It was in the mid-20s, but we did have a good deal of sunshine, and you'll see on our Youngstown camera here, bright blue skies this morning will gradually be replaced by clouds as we get into the afternoon today. Starting out kind of thin and high, but then that cloud deck lowering, and we even had some random snow flurries trying to be spit out of these clouds over the last few hours. Now, the radar algorithm shows mostly rain, but that's a little bit deceptive because there's some random snowflakes here and there. It's nothing that's going to stick or amount to anything. But once again, we're talking about seeing some snowflakes, and now we're at April 22nd. It's not unheard of at this time of the year, but we're getting into the time of the year in which it gets to be pretty unusual to see any sort of snowflakes across our region. All right, so we have a warm front, and it's a pretty significant warm front, snaking its way across the region this evening. 41 here locally, but it's 59 in Columbus, 68 in Cincinnati, where it was in the lower 70s earlier on today. Dubuque, Iowa was at 72. It's too bad that warm front kind of ran out of steam before it reached our region. Now, with some warm air advection, especially aloft tonight, there can continue to be a couple of raindrops, a couple of snowflakes over the next handful of hours. I think these will be largely gone by about 2 or 3 in the morning at the latest, and I think Thursday is likely to start out dry and not as cold as this morning. Instead of the mid-20s, we'll start out in the mid-30s Thursday morning. So one warm front kind of fading away, another warm front approaching from the south, and that's the weather maker for us tomorrow afternoon. Now, this is not going to be anything all that heavy, but some light rain and some drizzle will break out tomorrow afternoon, continue into the evening, into parts of the overnight as well. Now, as we head into Friday, still pretty gloomy to kick off the day, but I think from north to south, we'll see some gradual clearing. Now, if this were January and the sun was setting at 5:15, I'd say, oh, forget about seeing any sunshine on Friday. But sunsets are now past 8 p.m., and so I think the last few hours of daylight on Friday will be significantly better. Should be a nice sunset Friday evening. Unfortunately, though, as we head into the weekend, here's our next weather maker. This is an area of low pressure that will be doing some strengthening as it snakes up the Ohio River Valley. And as this comes our way over the weekend, we're talking about more wet weather. As far as how much rain to expect over the next 24 hours or so, the GFS is still leading the way here, but I think it's too high with the rainfall totals. Taken literally inch to inch and a half would be likely if the GFS was onto this. But the NAM's closer to a half an inch. The European model's down closer to a quarter of an inch. And I kind of like an average of about a quarter of an inch to a half an inch across our region. Your best chance of being on the higher end of those totals probably in our southern viewing area. The farther north you are, I think the closer you'll be to the quarter inch amounts. Overall, we're not looking at flooding problems or anything like that. All right, as we head into the weekend, as we get into Saturday afternoon, let me back this up. The European model is still a fair amount slower than the GFS, but I do think that rain will push in at least in the afternoon, maybe holding off until the evening on Saturday, but that'll set the stage for a soggy Saturday night and into Sunday. Look at all these isobars on the weather map on Sunday. So this is going to be a blustery day. And with that gusty wind, a lot of clouds, chilly east wind, temperatures may struggle to get out of the upper 40s Sunday afternoon. So if you've been saving some of those indoor projects for this weekend, you time things out well because it will not be a good weekend, especially Sunday, to do any outdoor landscaping projects or anything like that. Again, I wish I had better news in the longer range. This is just the pattern that we did not see all winter long. We waited till April to get in here. And the west will be very warm, if not hot. I saw the National Weather Service in Phoenix, Arizona, tweeted early today that they may have had their last high temperature in the 80s for the spring season, in the summer season, starting, I believe, tomorrow, or maybe it was today. They will see highs of 90 or above for the foreseeable future. Yeah, looking pretty hot out west, not so hot here in the east, with a cool regime probably lasting through the end of April and probably through the first week to 10 days at least of May. So yeah, we're paying the price a little bit for the warm, almost non-winter, and the warm start to spring. I don't see anything in the modeling right now to suggest that we're going to be getting into a warmer than average pattern through at least the next few weeks. Now, will this have implications for the summer? Probably not. A lot of people asking about that. Hey, does a cool pattern in April mean that it's going to be a cool summer? Really no data to suggest that. We're just in a cool April pattern. It happens sometimes. But eventually the switch will be flipped. We'll get into warm and hot weather before you know it. And this is kind of a different way of easing into summer than some of our recent springs. We've had non-springs occasionally over the last few years where we've gone and just flipped the switch right into summer in May. It just gets hot in May and stays that way through summer. It doesn't look like that'll be the case this year. Looks like kind of the opposite, a very slow start to the spring season. Well, that's not even a great way of saying it. It's a fast start to spring, but a slow middle period of spring followed by an easing into the summer season as opposed to just flipping the switch into summer like we've done in some of our recent years. All right, enough babbling from me. That'll do it for me on Weather for Weather Geeks tonight. Thanks as always for watching, everyone, and I'll see you back here same time, same place on Thursday.